This is Jason Anderson, Chairman of the Killenly Town Council, and I am calling this special Town Council meeting to order. Today is Thursday, May 11th, 2023, and it is currently 7:02 p.m. For roll call purposes, all council members are in attendance. At this time, we will move on to citizen statements and petitions. On the fiscal year 23-24 general government budget, if anyone would like to make comments, please step up to the podium and state your name and address.
Games, which I'm sure some of you on the board may not even recall. I would hazard a guess that if we were able to vote separately on the Parks and Rec budget, that it would pass. With outlets needed for healthy living, stress management, why would we decimate a jewel in our town? Because frankly, we don't have a lot of jewels left. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Lorraine Lagarde, 55 Jocks Road, Killingley, Connecticut. I'm here to speak to you about what I feel is extremely important. With all the chaos in this world and the severe increase in mental health, I would ask that you consider the benefits of recreation. Whether or not it's sports or exercise, this builds strength of body and mind. Yoga and meditation brings calm and peace so needed at this time. Theater and musical brings laughter and joy, also very much needed in this world. Also gives confidence to persons who need to feel accomplished. A lot of people will join and become something on the stage because it gives them the strength to go forward that they would not have. When I was worried and upset myself, to read a good book takes me to a better place until I was ready to calmly deal with it. Libraries take us to many worlds for better learning. When I was young, I was very proud to say that I was a bookworm. We used to have to read 100 books for the summer to become a bookworm, and I'm still proud of it. For this and many more reasons, I would ask that you be open to consideration with an open mind and an open heart, and keep the treasures that we do have in this wonderful town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Valerie Ward, Cutler Road, East Killingley. I just want to say that I hope you are kind to recreation, as we do provide services to many people in the town. And the small increases that we have asked for in our budget are due to increase in cost of services, such as, waste collection, rental of portalettes that everyone's always asking for when they're either on the trail at Owen Bell, now playing pickleball at the Westfield Avenue site outside. And I just, hope that you will be kind to us and realize what we are a treasure of the town.
Thank you.
Suzanne Easterly, 63 Jacques Road, South Killingley. A sense of community is what we've been hearing a lot in the news, that everybody's talking about a sense of community. I think that the Parks and Rec offers that sense of community, very much so. First of all, for our children. They come there, they participate in theater, they participate in singing, they participate in sports. Then there are our senior citizens. We do not have enough activities for our senior citizens, and yet the Parks and Recreation provides many outlets for them to come to communicate. Just today, I read one of my stories that I read frequently for the Parks and Rec. There were several people there. We sat, we talked, we had dessert, and it was really a sense of different folks coming together. How pleasant that was. Everybody just had a lovely time, and that happens often. Whenever the Parks and Rec gives a special performance like Valentine's Day or a special theater appointment or the Wednesday movies, everyone feels like they're coming together and they belong. That is our sense of community. That's our heart of our community. And we do not ever take away our heart. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Holly Blade, 14 Mayhew Drive, Dayville, Connecticut. So I have been on the Parks and Rec Board now for this last year. I also have been running the theater program for Killingly Parks and Rec for the last 7 years, completely as a volunteer. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about the importance of what happens in that building. I know that a lot of people think that it won't impact the community, but I'm here to tell you that this last show we did, Frozen Junior, there were 55 kids in that show, and some of them, 30 of them out of the 55, never been on a stage before. And I'm getting messages from parents asking, when can we set up a group time for everyone to get together? They miss each other. And the impact of losing Youth Hoop, the impact of, if you've ever gone to the theater bill or the community center on a Wednesday afternoon, sometimes there are 80 senior citizens in that room watching a movie together. And that may be their only interaction with other people that are similar age, similar, life stage for the whole week. But they all come together on Wednesday. The movie starts at 1 o'clock. Those ladies get there like 11:30. They bring snacks, they bring drinks, they stay after the movie's over. It's a thing. I have 5 children who live in this community. My oldest is graduating college next week, and my youngest is in preschool. So I have the spectrum. All of my kids have done every program that Parks and Rec provides. 3 of my kids have worked for Parks and Rec for the camp program. If we cut even one camp counselor from our camp program, that's 1 less safe for the kids of our community and 2 less fun. Nobody wants to have to sit in a room because we don't have enough camp counselors to monitor what they're able to do in outside activities. Some of the other cuts like senior yoga and, facing more cuts if we have to do this again in another week. It just seems ludicrous that we would risk the mental, physical well-being of our community to make such drastic cuts. And with the poor voter turnout, I really feel like we should make minimal cuts right now and do some better explanations of how these cuts are really going to impact people, how eliminating a mechanic position is really going to impact the people in our town, because this is bigger than just Parks and Rec, although that is where my heart lies. This really does trickle down to everyone, even if they don't realize it. And the Dunkin' Donuts coffee they might have to skip so that way they can pay the extra, cents a day that they're going to have to pay in property tax increase because the mill rate increase is minimal compared to the loss that they're going to feel if we have to start cutting significant programs. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Melissa Phillips, 635 Providence Pike, Killingly. I'm very moved by all the words that I'm hearing from all the people that have spoken so far. I just want to ask that we not get overzealous with making cuts to the general budget. From the numbers I see, it wasn't that far off from passing, and the increase to the budget and the 4 mils of proposed tax hike that's attributed to it is not that great in the big picture. So I hate to see us start, getting crazy with cuts, before we get another chance to get the townspeople out to support it. If my math's right, there was 458 against and 422 for. I mean, that's 36 votes apart. 16 of them were too low. I assume those 16 will come back and vote for it because they obviously don't want cuts, which puts us 20 votes away. So I have to believe if we have an opportunity to get out and do some better communication, like somebody mentioned, and, as far as how people could be impacted by these cuts, I believe that we would be successful in, getting that general budget passed. So I'd like to see that happen, because any and all cuts could impact people's livelihoods and the quality of life in our town. In particular to the recreation budget, as a member of the Board of Recreation, I am asking that we do not eliminate or cut back services and programs that so many people in our town, as evidenced by the words that you've heard already, look forward to and depend on. And that so many people have worked so hard to build these programs, and if you start seeing them get cut, a lot of times they don't get back. They don't come back with the strength that, and so many people have worked so hard, and so many volunteer hours have been put in. And to see programs like senior programming and summer camp and theater program be impacted by this would be really heartbreaking to me and to a lot of people. I would rather see us working towards increasing and not decreasing the quality and number of recreational activities and programs that we offer here, because it enhances the quality of life in our community, and it makes our community attractive to people that are looking to come in. That's the kind of things that people look towards. So that's what I'm hoping will happen, that we'll have another shot at this without anything too drastic being cut. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Faye Berry. I'm from 32 Junior Ave in Danielson, Connecticut. I really don't know what to say because everybody has said it for me. I do want to say that I love this community. I've been here for 33 years. I started working with the Park and Rec when I was working at my old job, and when I left there, I decided to stay with the Park and Rec. We talk about mental health for children and loneliness and isolation for seniors, and I've seen it. And when I got called today and I was told that the potential cuts, I was very, very upset. I don't have children. I work with seniors. These people deserve a better chance. They deserve something for their mental health. These kids deserve a place to go in the summertime. These seniors deserve a place to go where they can congregate. If you've ever seen an elderly person featuring loneliness and depression, let me know. I'll show you a couple. This is their outlet. We don't want them getting into trouble in the summertime. We want them to have a place to go, to be safe, to be cherished, and to grow within our community. So as a member of the board and as a citizen, I'm asking that you please reconsider what you want to do. They were right. We only have 20 votes separated. Let's go back and try to do it again, but let's keep our Park and Rec and let's keep our citizens healthy and happy. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Robin Lofquist. I live at 25 La Fantasy Drive in Danielson. I'm here to support the folks speaking on behalf of the Park and Rec, but also to speak in support of our library. I've been very involved with our library for 20 years. They offer an incredible amount of services to a lot of people, and I want to make sure everyone understands that. A lot of people think libraries aren't important anymore. Everything's online. And that's just not true. A lot of people don't have access to computers, and the library offers a full range of services that you probably don't even know that they offer. Just on average, according to the library director, on average 300 people come in the library each day that it's open. I don't think anybody would have guessed that number was that high. They can access reference materials and online databases. They can use the public internet, computers, and Wi-Fi. This allows people to do job applications and pursue training opportunities. It adds a lot to the community and the future of the Killingly residents. There's a wide array of children's, teen, and adult programs. There's free public space for community meetings. It's one of the only places in town that's indoors that's a public space. So if people want to have a meeting, if people want to use the bathroom, if people want to see what else Killingley is about, they can go to the library. People get help using computers if you're having trouble with your tablet at home. Nothing to do with the library, but they have tech support that will help you do that. There's scanning, faxing, and copying services. I see those being used constantly. And they offer tax assistance. I mean, who knew that the library would help people with their taxes? That's a real resource for our citizens. So I know it's tough to make cuts. It's hard to find places to make cuts in a small town budget. And it's really tempting to look at some of these big ticket items like the library and the Parks and Rec. And I know that there isn't a lot of fat anywhere. But I will also say that people will really miss these programs if we have to make drastic cuts. And I think we can all communicate better. We can write letters to the villager and talk to our neighbors and our friends and make sure that they understand that it's really important to vote in support of the services that we enjoy.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kelly McClellan. I have anxiety bad, but I'm going to try to calm that down. I live 15 School Street in Danielson. My husband Ed and I lead the KPRD Community Drum Circle. It's a new program in Killingley. We started going to freestyle drum circles about a year ago and decided to have one at our house, and we have a very small backyard. But we had several people come. We wanted to do that the next month and had too many people to fit in our backyard. So I went over to the Park and Rec and asked if we could use Davis Park, which that's what started all of this. On Saturday, in a couple of days, we're at O.M. Bell, and we have had 80 some responses for this drum circle. We are honestly as surprised as you could imagine because we had no idea. We always say we have no idea what we're doing, but if you have a heartbeat, you can count to 4 and hit a drum. And it's amazing how it brings people together, and it heals happiness, and it heals depression, and it brings people of all ages together. It's incredible. We had one family come in with, I think, a 1-year-old little boy who had a little percussion bag, and he took out a shaker, and the drums were going, and he could keep time. It was amazing. We also have people in their 80s come. We have people who are challenged with different disabilities come. Everyone is welcome, and everybody comes, and they are ecstatic that we can do this with the Killingley Park and Rec Department. In the 90s, my daughters were kids. They did the community theater, as I did. I was in the ensemble of Hello Dolly. To me, this is Hello Dolly forever. It's an honor. It's an honor to have been able to get on a stage and live out a dream. It really is. And more importantly, with drumming, it allows everyone to be welcome. It is a leveling of the playing field. It doesn't matter what your education background is. It doesn't matter if you have money. It doesn't matter if you do not have money. It's fun. It's great. It's healing. And honestly, because we've been talking more with Anthony and Bucky, Bucky was the assistant director when I was acting in the 90s, so I'm very happy to see a familiar face. But everyone in the Park and Rec is so friendly and so good to us. I just kept saying to my husband, they know something we don't. But we're slowly starting to understand that this is a very good thing for the community. Not only are we getting people from the Killingly area, we are getting people from Massachusetts, we are getting people from North Haven, Hartford, New Haven. We are getting people from Rhode Island. And I'm starting to take a look at this and going, is this a possibility that there could become a better revenue for this town? I'm not a businesswoman, but it just looks like when we're having drum circles and people are coming, they're stopping at restaurants, they're stopping at possibly the library. Now we're not just visiting Davis Park, we're at Owen Bell Park. People are coming from everywhere because there are no drum circles in this part of the state except the one that is provided by Killingly. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for the town. I'm excited for us because it's a blast. You have to come. It's free. We love it. We hope you do too.
Thank you.
Hi, Steve Drown, 305 Ledge Road, Dayville. Wow, there's a lot of great stuff going on with this community, isn't there? My daughters are participants within the Little Theater, and the amount that they have grown since they've been in the theater is absolutely amazing to me. They've all come out of their shell. They love to engage and participate in other things other than the Little Theater, other things that are around our community. The circle of friends that they've been able to have since they've been a part of it. It's just amazing. The library. Every summer, my kids participate inside the reading program. Every single summer. And how they have grown in their reading capability, astounding. Above their grade level in most instances. So I'm here to really beg that we take the Parks and Rec budget cuts off the table, that we fully fund those particular programs. What I've seen as far as huge benefits, not just with my own kids, is just in the community itself. We have people here from out of town who participate in the program. And the Little Theater. They come from all around. We just heard it in regards to some of the other programs in the drum circle. They come here because of these things that we have that others don't. It's absolutely an exciting part of our culture that we have here and things that we want to keep and instill within our kids and to continue forward. We just heard that Hello Dolly, right? It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So when we speak about exciting and we hear about others talking about it, is exciting. It's really exciting because it not only builds our own Killingly community, it builds our larger community as a whole. And holistically, we grow better, bring more revenue into the community because we have folks that are going to come here and they need to go somewhere to eat. They need to go somewhere to have some more recreation. They need to have other places that they can go and gather. And then the word of mouth gets out and others hear about it. I can tell you right now, I'll probably be number 81 in that drum circle. So I thank you. I thank you for your time. I just really hope that we can fully support that Parks and Rec budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Ms. Gloria, could you go over anything that was
I'd
submitted?
just like to say one thing. I'm an avid librarian, stalker person. I live at the library. They get books for me all the time. I bring the New York Times bestsellers to them. They get the lists. They put them on for the recommended things, and other people talk about them. The librarians in this town are fabulous. They are fabulous. And when I go in there, I see people of all stripes sitting there, working on stuff, getting jobs, getting their information. I think it's an amazing space since the new building is there and people just they like to be there. And once the market opens, it's like you go to the market, you go to the library. It's like one-stop shopping, and everybody just loves it.
And there's no late fees anymore.
Thank you. Ms. Gloria, could you go over the submitted comments?
Yes, there were four submitted comments. The first one is Patricia Placido, 67 Holmes Street in Danielson, and she submitted public comment in support of the Killenly Parks and Recreation Department. The next one is Christina Main, 219 Coomer Hill Road in Bayville. She submitted public comment in support of the the library, the theater, and the recreational programs. The next one is Anna Malat. She submitted public comment in support of fully funding Killingley Parks and Recreation Department. And the last one submitted was Christina Drown. And she submitted a public comment in support of fully funding the Killingley Parks and Recreation Department. These have all been, two of them are loaded up on the website. They were submitted early enough for us to be able to do that. The other two will go on the website first thing tomorrow morning, but all of you have been provided with all four.
Thank you. Last call for public comment. Seeing none, we'll move on in the agenda. Next item up is 4A, new business, consideration and action on a resolution to adopt a revised fiscal year 2023 to 2024 general government budget.
Jason, can I back up for 1 second? It's probably a missed point of order or anything, but I'd like to ask all the people that made a comment tonight one question.
We'd have to suspend the rules for that.
I'd like to move that we suspend the rules for that.
No, he can make a motion right from there to suspend the rules. All right, so we had a motion made to suspend the rules for council members to ask questions of
Right.
citizens that are here this evening and for them to respond. So motion was made by Mr. Whitehead. Second was, I heard somebody second it, Mr. Grandelski. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Mr. Whitehead.
So my question, thank you very much for coming, but my question is, where did you hear about cuts for the library, for the board, for the recreation department? Because apologize, I work all day, so I'm not on Facebook, but I'm just curious as to where that came from.
If
This
any-
is the first I've heard.
If anyone is going to respond, if you can just go to the microphone so that way the people that are watching can listen.
We attended the reading today at the rec reading that Suzanne worked on, and we were all having such a good time, and the girls that put it together did a great job. And they came out, and the fella came out, and he said, we just want, we're not asking you how to vote, but we want you to know some of the things that will be affecting us if this happens.
Mm-hmm.
And all of us, there wasn't one person in there that wasn't shocked and thought,
But my question is, who generated that speculation that the council was gonna
So I will say, I was requested to put together 3 scenarios. I do have conversation with my staff. And so as any department that may be impacted significantly, they usually reach out to their board to let their board members know, and they may reach out to other, program participants to let them know that it's part of a consideration. So that's very typical. Also, I understand that a lot of people had generated that as well from the newspaper article that was published, where the chairman was quoted in saying that those might be potential cuts that you have to revisit. So there were several different areas that people may have received that information.
when he spoke to us, he did comment and he said, these are possibilities that could happen.
Right.
Okay. Because my feeling is it should be a blanket, if any cuts have to be cut, it should be blanket across the budget, and there should be no large items that should be affected. It may take time, it may take effort, but that's the way it should be.
Thank you.
So I agree with you.
Thank you. I just want to add one piece to that. As Ms. Calorio did reference, I was reached out to yesterday by John Penny from the Norwich Bulletin, asked me what my opinion was as far as where the council might go for cuts, and what I referenced was we will revisit the possible cuts that were presented to us before when we went into deliberations, those being the mechanics position, one constable, and I believe it was there were some rec cuts in that as well.
Recreation and library.
Yep, but the council, when we deliberated on the budget, we made the decision not to make those cuts.
Right, because they're feel-good cuts, right.
So, but that is where some of that information may have come from as well, if they had read the article that Norwich Bulletin had posted and saw what John Penny had quoted me as saying, is I stated we'd just revisit the ones, and we'll look at others, and we'll revisit the ones that we already had spoken about. So, you're welcome.
Yes, I definitely called Mary today and said I want to see all the different things we had spoken about. For me, everything is on the table when we relook at a budget, not some things are off. I appreciate everybody's concern, and we will deliberate tonight.
Okay.
I would just like to comment, I'm so happy to see all of you here, and I think I speak for most people on this board. We were not even considering cutting any jobs that are already filled or any services that you guys provide, library, rec. It's just not feasible to me that we would take things out of this community that are so beneficial to the entire community. We've all, it's not something even being considered. So it's great to see all of you here. And it just, it just like instills in me more, like we just have to keep growing this. Like I've talked to Bucky, and yeah, I mean, you guys are amazing. We have no interest in cutting any of it. I don't even want to take $1 out, but I mean, realistically we have to, but not out of anything you guys do. So thank you for coming.
I also will echo Patty's comments. I understand because I actually have a double bachelor, and my other bachelor is community health, and the rec department and the library. That's all a part of what makes a community a whole community. Our library and our rec and our parks are known throughout the region for the services and the programs we put on. And to be frank and honest with you, a lot of the programs at the library and in the rec center take care of the birth to 3 and our elderly. And there are way more of them than the number of students that are in the school system. So,
Thank you. At this time, we will move on into deliberations on item 4A, new business, consideration and action on a resolution to adopt a revised fiscal year 2023 to 2024 general government budget. Can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion. I'll second it.
Motion has been made by Mr. Wood, seconded by Mr. Cottula. We'll open up for discussion. I will say that I have received comments from citizens that they were extremely concerned about how much their taxes are going to go up. And they asked what the council could do to get to a 0 mil increase for this year. Unfortunately, with the increase that the Board of Ed received, I feel the budget that the town council had put forward to annual town meeting was a very fiscally responsible budget. When you take into consideration the fact that the Board of Education is sitting on a $2 million non-lapsing account, the last fiscal year, when they had asked for $880,000 for the 22 to 23 fiscal school year, and they didn't receive an increase, and they still ran a $1.7 million surplus and did not have to dip into the $2 million non-lapsing account for normal budgetary things, and still ran a surplus. And going forward, now they're asking for an additional amount while they're still sitting on their $2 million non-lapsing account. Considering that, I felt that what the town council put forward to annual town meeting was very fiscally responsible. Now, at this point, what has passed the referendum vote for the Board of Education is a net $2.2 million increase when you look at the increase in expenditures, the decrease in revenue on the Board of Education side. And if you want to also add in that the town government side, our budget shows almost $400,000 in debt service that we're now having to pay for the Killenly Memorial School project. If you were to look at the general budget increase, the general government budget increase, not expenditures, because when you take the budget, when you're talking budget, you have to take revenues into account. So your net general government budget increase was, I'll give you the exact figure. Let me grab my glasses. It was $657,000. Now, if you factor out the $397,737 that is in that figure, that is going to pay debt service at Killenly Memorial School. If you were to take the Killenly Memorial School debt service payment out of the increase in net general government budget, that would bring it down to a $260,000 increase, which unfortunately the superintendent kept running around telling everyone that the town government budget was increasing 28%, which if you look at the numbers, it is absolutely not. Unfortunately, when I questioned him at the annual town meeting, his first response was he didn't hear me. The second response was he didn't understand the question. I repeated it a third time, and then it became, well, my staff put those numbers in. I don't know why they use those numbers. That being said, the town government budget did fail. And the majority of people voted against it, and there were more votes that it was too high than it was too low. So at this point, we're here again trying to revisit this budget and look at scenarios where we can make a cut or multiple cuts and not impact services for the whole community. We did consider a couple scenarios. I had Ms. Colorio go over a few of them with us again. We do have those here that we are looking at. I took into consideration that I had people who were looking to get to a 0 mil increase. Unfortunately, because of the increase that passed for the Board of Education, the only way we could get anywhere near a 0 mil increase, we would have to shut down the library completely. We would have to shut down the parks. We would have to shut down Parks and Rec. We would have to cut staffing across every single department in town, which isn't feasible. You can't run a town like that. It's not fair to the whole community that when a budget fails by a few votes, that you just can't make those kind of cuts. And I feel that the town manager and her staff put together a fair budget. Is there room to make incremental cuts here and there? Yes. You might find a little bit here, a little bit there, but there is no way we can get down to a 0 mil increase without decimating services. It just, unfortunately, because of the increase on the Board of Education side, it's not realistic to be able to do that. That being said, I will turn over to anyone else who would like to say anything, or if I would also entertain a motion to reduce let me see if I got line items on here. I don't have line items on this. To reduce law enforcement amount of $50,000, and then employee benefits for constable positions, $17,230. That would be a total reduction of $67,230.
I'll make a motion for that.
We have a motion made by Mr. Cottula, second by Ms. Murphy. I will open up for discussion. I will say, for anyone who's listening or who is here, this is not cutting an existing constable. We were slated to add 2 more constables this fiscal year. This would only mean we would be only adding 1 additional instead of 2 additional. So we wouldn't be cutting anyone's positions. No one would be getting the pink slip. No one would be getting fired. And this would help bring the town side down a little bit. And at that point, this would bring the number on if you look at the net general government budget and you take out the debt services for the Killen Memorial School project, that would be only an increase. So the increase on the town government side, net general government budget, would be under $200,000, which, considering you have contractual obligations, for salary increases, the cost of everything is going up. I think that is more than a fair budget to put back out to vote. Any other comments?
If I may, I just want to relay also that the 2 positions that were proposed, one was we were considering a lateral, one would have been a
new hire,
an academy,
Cadet, yep.
An academy position. We had only recognized a portion of the year for the academy position because the academy doesn't start until later in the year. So I don't want people to look at the 50,000 and think that all of our officers make 50. That was based on an academy slot position and would be was only a partial year funded because we knew that academy wasn't happening until later in the year. So that's what would be eliminated by this. It does result in a decrease to the 0.40 mill rate increase on the town side by 0.05. So the town side of the government would have the increase of 0.35. And recognizing and incorporating the impact of the approved Board of Education budget, which added 1.39 to the mill, that would result in a mill rate of 26.88. Just wanted to clarify for everyone.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Mr. Wood.
Yeah, first off, I was hoping some of the folks from the rec were going to stay here because I honestly think they deserve a round of applause for the fact that so many of them have been doing so much for our town for so long. I just appreciate it, and obviously you can tell where their heart and their passion is. And I live on Broad Street, and I can see the community center literally from my apartment. And so I can tell you it is busy most nights of the week, and I can hear the drum circle over in Davis Park as well, especially if I have the windows open on the summer. So it is a very active and vibrant department, and I'm appreciative of all the work that they put in. Same thing with the library. I know actually it was neat to learn some things about the library. 300 people a day. They do help with tax services, assist, I should say. They are not CPAs.
No, so they actually have an tax organization that comes in, and they can do file tax returns for individuals. So they do take a lot of appointments for those when it becomes tax season, and so they truly do have a tax preparation service that comes in and assists our town with actually preparing and filing their taxes for them.
A lot of those are elderly.
Right.
Right, and then many of them qualify for free to be able to do that. So, but they help coordinate that.
So I definitely appreciative of all of that. When I look at the mechanics position there, my biggest concern is obviously outsourcing to other agencies to help with the overflow of work. So that's more money that has to be spent. The constable, considering my line of work, I have a hard time with that because I really have a great appreciation for our law enforcement. I saw that great appreciation even this week, and my heart went out to them as well. But I will. It's an unfilled position that doesn't exist currently, so I can understand delaying one more year, even though I am a big proponent of trying to get as many people in law enforcement as possible because as I was talking with my coworker today, we have a huge deficit in law enforcement throughout the state. But I also agreed with one of the comments, and I forget who said it there. You know, the town's budget only failed by 36 votes. That's a very small margin, and I think if, you know, the biggest thing I can encourage anybody, and I'm not telling people how to vote, I hope nobody misconstrues my remarks as that, but the biggest thing I can say is get out and vote, because 800 people came out to vote for a budget. You know, we have thousands upon thousands of people registered to vote in the town of Killingly. You know, so it would be, it's citizens' participation, you know, and I will say, prior to coming on the council, I was guilty of being that guy that would just go out and vote, not knowing a clue what's going on. But I did it because I knew I had to vote. But, you know, that's the thing, citizens' participation is very important as well. So I hope more people continue to come out and participate and obviously speak even what they're passionate about here in our town, and they're what makes our town great. So I can definitely appreciate this one cut for our constables.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. I just want to echo that I do myself support our law enforcement services and all our EMS services, especially having family that was in law enforcement. I had a sister who 28 years was a police officer. And I know it's not an easy job, and I know they need the support of the local officials and the town behind them.
I also support the law enforcement as well. And like I was telling most people today, that not that I've seen it firsthand, but I see it on my video cameras at my shop, that, you know, two Norwich officers responded to an issue, and one of them got hurt extremely bad, taken off in the ambulance. And I fear for that for our town, and I fear, you know, and I disagree with eliminating any positions. I understand that this is an unfilled position, but I believe that small cuts throughout the board, throughout the budget, could be made to make up this difference that we need, because the guys need backup, and if there's no backup there, it happens. The world is not getting any better.
Thank you. Any further comments? Mr. Grandowski.
It was interesting at the public hearing. I think we had more people tonight come to this hearing than we had at the public hearing. I'm glad they came out. I applaud them for coming out, because they saw what was going on. And a little fire was lit, and I mean, I try to get people to come in, and they just don't want to. And, you know, this way here, they saw the possibilities, what was going to happen. They were very involved with the library, the Board of Rec, and they came out to support, you know, what they have, and they don't want to lose anything. And I have to applaud them for that. Problem is, the budget failed, but only 8.4% of the total population voted. And the difference in the votes was 35, 36 votes. So this is a tough. What is that message, and what do we do? I mean, everybody says the overall, like you were saying, you can't touch, because the Board of Ed budget was so high, you can't get down to a zero, or nowhere near. That has a lot of things. And you try to explain that to someone that doesn't follow everything too much, that you can't take it out on the town side 100%. So.
The one thing I will say I was hoping to see tonight is the fact that the budget failed, and the majority of people said that the budget was too high. I was hoping we'd get some input on where they would like to see cuts. We had all these people that voted the budget down and said it was too high, and we did not hear from a single person as to why they thought it was too high, where they thought cuts should be. Which, if you feel a budget is too high, I encourage people, come out and tell us where you want to see us make cuts. Because unfortunately, if you're not expressing where you feel the cuts should be made, you're leaving it up to the elected officials to make cuts, and they may come in places where you don't want to see them. I am thankful, as it's been stated, that everyone who came here tonight speaking in favor of Parks and Rec did so. That is something that, while it was something that was to be considered, as happened last time when we deliberated on the budget, there wasn't an appetite on the council to enough of an appetite to cut anything on Parks and Rec. There are a lot of benefits to everything that Parks and Rec does for this community.
And the library.
And the library. Mr. Wood.
You know, one thing that was said tonight there that I know I dealt with prior to the vote for our budget was that some citizens did feel that it wasn't explained well for the town side, and I know the town manager did her best there. I did my best to try to explain it. I posted something on Facebook. I talked to a few people. So I mean, I think, I go back to a lot of what you say, Ed, there with people. If they don't understand it, come out and talk. Come to us. Come talk to us. Sometimes they're afraid to come to the podium, but we're approachable people. We don't bite. At least I hope we don't. But
I'll leave that one.
we very much are approachable people. There, you can call us up. That's one way of getting a hold of us. Email us. I know I spent probably about 20 minutes trying to explain explain the budget prior to the vote to someone the other night. So I think I echo the words that Mr. Grandelsky says. Please come out. Please tell us what you want. Tell us what's going on. That way, if you have confusion about it, we can do our best to explain.
Ms. Wakefield.
It's kind of along the same lines too, though, is I think, like you said, they're afraid. That lady, I'm dealing with my anxiety and getting up to speak. But what happens a lot of times is they talk amongst themselves, and all it takes is one person not understanding, and the rest of them just say, okay, yeah, that one thing, well, they must know what they're talking about because it sounds right. But yeah, if people have questions, they need to ask.
Yeah.
I mean, we got our phone numbers are on our
Yep.
emails.
Yep.
So, we live probably next to a lot of the people. So, you see us in the grocery store, out in the parks. I mean, if you have a question, ask. I know people at work say, hey, so what's going on at the park this weekend? It's like, well, why don't you go look it up? but they come and ask me. So, I mean, so they ask about activities, but, this is our money.
Yeah.
This is our tax money. Just, got to do your research and figure it all out.
Well, even during the initial budget presentation by the town manager and everything, just come on, maybe sit in the audience, get a little bit of a feel. You don't have to maybe go there,
Just listen.
but you can see kind of what's going on. I mean, everybody's busy. I understand that, but yeah, it's tough. That's a tough place to be, right? I can sit here. This is not a problem. I don't care how bad it might get here, whatever we may. There, it's terrible. I am very nervous going over there.
I don't know. Marvin Fox is really good up at that podium.
I think he had more experience than anybody else. So
Massive anxiety.
yeah, I know. In this case, we got to reduce the increase by something. What is the again? I don't know what people are expecting. That's another.
That was like I said. I wish people who had voted that the budget was against the budget and said it was too high would have come forward. You can even email. You don't even have to come here to speak. You could email public comment in as to where you feel you would like to see cuts. That way we know what the public's feeling. We know what direction those people who voted against it would like to see things go.
So we can just take that one cut that's been proposed so far, set the number, and on Monday night, they can they can come in.
So on Monday night, recognize that nobody can change the number from the floor. So what you set tonight is what goes on the ballot.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So they don't get to
Yes.
change it from the floor.
Nope.
That only happens on the
Annual town
original
meeting.
annual town meeting. On reconvened, it's more similar to a public hearing type scenario, so there is no motions from the floor at all. And what goes to but you will hear the feedback, if people come, you'll be able to hear that feedback. So if it doesn't pass, then you would be able to have potentially more feedback on that. But whatever you set tonight is actually what goes on the ballot. And so I just did I know. I just did a quick calculation. So at the 0.35 mil increase, 0.28 of that is the KMS debt service. So that means town operations has an impact with this lower of 0.07 mils. That's the impact from what you have before you for town operations.
Yeah.
0.07 mil.
0.07.
Correct.
Is there anything at the transfer station that we can do?
So, the general government budget does subsidize the transfer station by $234,000. If that were to be cut out of the general fund, contribution out of the general fund, then you would have to, the solid waste fund would have to determine, are they going to raise fees at the transfer station? Or how are they going to generate that revenue, utilize, what fund balance might be available, and I don't have that number off the top of my head. But those are things that they would have to determine, and that solid waste subcommittee would make recommendation, because that is the solid waste subcommittee of the town council. That group would make recommendation to this body to essentially rework that budget.
But that would be raising a revenue.
So that would, it would reduce the mill rate on the general government side. It would reduce the mill rate because you're not expending it on the general government side. However, that is going to result in a deficit on the solid waste subsidy fund, and that deficit would have to be filled by either increasing costs or increasing fees that are paid by permit fees or sticker fees or whatever that might be, bulky waste fees. That would have to be done in at that level, and or a combination use of the fund balance of the solid waste subsidy, which I believe that already has a fund balance use.
Right, it does.
It is. It has a 28. Okay. So you would have to, right, you'd have to use one of those, if you wanted to eliminate that.
But even something like that, it's almost like you gotta do that a year in advance, start working on that, so the public gets a feel for what is going on. Because when we did the townwide collection, that was a lot of effort.
It was.
And whatnot.
Yeah, we had a lot of conversation.
Not to that point, but.
Right.
The
Right.
people did come out.
There was a lot of.
Other than that, I don't know where else.
If you want to know the number, if you were to act on the motion that you have before you, and that would be the number that you wanted to set, that number would put the general government budget at $25,443,578. That would be the number that is within your resolution, if that's what you so desire.
Mary, what does the 0.07 mil actually equal in dollar value?
Hold on.
No, that's.
About 197,000.
97,100.
How many line items are in the budget?
I don't have the number.
Approximately.
Off the top of my head, I don't have the number.
No, I don't know if,
Where you're going.
I don't know if she answered the question the way you were asking, because your answer was 97,000?
That's the value of 0.07 mils.
97 or 197?
97,000
Is 0.7.
is 0.07.
I'm just trying to figure out how we got to
Because you offset revenues.
that number,
At 0.07.
because we were
Hang on.
at
Hang on, let me
We're
do
at
the calculation.
600 and,
The debt service number as the value of the note?
But I didn't do 0.35. I didn't do 0.35. I only did I went from the 0.07. So hang on, let me do the number. Oh, that's not the right budget. I have the wrong budget in my hand. Right? Make sure I'm not lying. Clear. 266, 827 minus 67,000. 67,230 equals 200,000 divided by 1387152. It's 14. But I have to offset revenues. That doesn't include my net revenue.
yeah. Yeah.
So that while they're looking, I just wanted to say that I am glad we are making a cut. It's what the town wanted. And with the 1.5 million restoration or increase in the school budget, you know, I had heard some people say, oh, you know, it's only $30 or $25, and that money really does hurt some people. I've been in that position before. I'm not right now, but I have been. So I'm glad we're doing something, you know, that even though it's tough.
And the one thing that I hadn't mentioned before, the one thing you always got to consider is when property taxes go up, just because you don't you're not a homeowner, doesn't mean you're not going to be impacted, because a landlord, when his property taxes go up, is going to have to go up on your rents. So everybody is impacted. Everybody in town is impacted by property taxes. Unless you're living in completely subsidized housing where you're not paying anything for it and don't own a vehicle.
192,361.
192,361.
And you have to look at, the unfunded mandates
Yeah.
that have just passed. That's
Yeah.
gonna hit our budget at
Yeah.
the same time. So that's
Right, but
gonna
if we do the net.
result in.
Because
what,
if you do it into here.
On top of whatever we end up with,
328.
roughly. So
Minus.
it's a trickle-down effect. It's pretty impactful.
It is, but it is a 0.05 decrease, right?
What is the cost to have a referendum? Do you have a number for that?
Yeah, it roughly costs us about $7,500 per referendum.
Yeah, that's exactly right, because it's 1 point equals 1 point.
Mary, the reason why I was asking, because I was using
So,
the figures
no,
of this.
it's fine. I had the wrong number on mine, so I'm
Okay.
having Jen recalculate it in the actual spreadsheet, so that
Right.
way I'm not trying to do it off the cuff.
Because I had taken
It's 0.36.
the 657 minus the 397,
So it's 0.36, and if
And
we
then
minus
took out
0.28,
It's 0.07.
0.07, right? So
It's not.
0.36.
It's the A page, it's the net.
It's the net. So, right, so I was giving you off of the net, but, so the value of that is 192?
192,361.
192,361.
And that's equal to 0.14, but that's not what.
But you have to net that out. So, so the, I was just trying to give you, so as far as there is total number of departments in the town budget, 33 total departments. And then there's line items within each department, and, you know, each department has a different number of line items. They don't have a set number of line items.
300 or 200 or just top of your head. The only point I'm trying to make is, if we're talking about an increase, and I really feel strong about the elderly. I feel strong about raising any amount of taxes if we don't have to. We have reevaluation coming. We have the increase in the car taxes, which are exponential. And we're talking about if the $97,000 is correct, if you took that off for 200 line items, that's $500. We don't have to talk about cutting this. We don't have to talk about cutting the board of the recreation. It just would be an easier, softer cut. Maybe total chaos for you and Jen. Absolutely.
No, so
But
if
I'm
you,
just saying-
but if you were to take a cut of $500 out of every single line item of every single budget for, well, let's just use recreation alone. You have, say, 15 to 20 line items in that budget. Times that by 500, you're cutting programs. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You're cutting programs.
You don't have to cut a program. You could cut something else. You could cut
What else within the
maintenance-
recreation?
maintenance. I don't have the inner sanctum that you have. For the budget.
I'm I have delivered everything.
You're the
I
one
will.
that's going to know the answer to this.
And that's why I'm telling you, you're cutting programs. There is no additional place to cut. It's cutting programs. They're not going to be able to advertise. They're not going to be able to print the information. They're not going to be able to buy the supply for whatever that program is. They're not going to be able to hire the contractual service they need for that program. You're cutting a program. Same with the library. The library has probably 15 line items within their budget. Times that by 500 for each line. That's a substantial cut to that budget. And that means it's programs. You're cutting programs in order to be able to manage that level of cut within just those two programs, just those two line items.
It's a $97,000.
It's $100.
$97,000. What you said was an increase.
And I corrected
Yeah.
myself.
Yep, it's 190.
192,000 is the difference. So I corrected that. And you're saying if you cut 500 from every single line item, if that's the direction, then you're talking about cutting services. You're talking about cutting programs. That's what it is.
So you could cut responsibly not different programs, but you can cut different line items. There are line items in your budget that I'm sure have an excess amount of something.
That may be your opinion. I disagree with that.
I'm on page 19 and I'm up to 200 already, just to give you an idea.
Oh, line items?
Yeah, so-
Yeah.
It probably is.
And the thing you got to consider too is to do a blanket where you're cutting X amount from each department or each line item. Some departments may have 3 line items. You can have other ones that in here that have roughly 20 line items. So you can have one department that the line items are broken up, and it could be smaller amounts. And then you have a bigger department that has higher ticket line items that isn't as impacted as much as another department that has a quarter of the budget, but just because it's broken up
I
more.
understand that, but there's ways to take the budget down. I've done budgets for my job, so. And there's fluff built into it. That's my opinion.
Well, we have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion?
I got one thing. I'm going on vacation, so I wanted to apologize. I'm not going to be at Monday's meeting. I am in favor of this. Oh, well, you'll see with the vote. But sorry, I apologize. I'm not going to be here Monday.
And I do have one question I want to address to the town manager for everyone listening as well afterwards. So at this point, I will ask for all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. So the motion was to cut those 2 items out, which would bring the general government budget. I'll read the resolution. So the resolution to adopt revised fiscal year 2023 to 2024 general government budget be it resolved by the Town Council of the Town of Killenly that in accordance with Section 1005 of the Town Charter, the town government budget for the Town of Killenly, Connecticut for the fiscal year July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024 in the amount of $25,443,578 allocated to the general fund be adopted. Unless we have any more discussion regarding this.
You already voted.
Okay.
You voted. You took the vote.
All right. I thought we were voting on a motion to change it and then voting on that. Okay. All right.
That was your vote. I registered as the motion to pass the resolution.
How did you
with the
have it?
revised? Is that how you?
We usually do the motion Mr. Cotula made and Ms. Murphy seconded to change the line items and then go back
Okay.
and put those numbers
Thank you for correcting that.
Okay.
You got it.
Okay. All right.
Sorry for
That's-
my
yeah.
misunderstanding.
That's all right. So the motion on the table right now is to adopt the resolution as I just read off, with the total town government budget of $25,443,578.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Catula, second by Mr. Wood. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 8-1. Ms. Colorio, anyone who needs absentee ballots
Yes, so
for this?
absentee
When are
ballots.
they available? Where do they get them? How soon do they have to be in?
Sure. Absentee ballots will be available in the town clerk's office on the afternoon of May 16th, so we have to wait until after Monday night's meeting, even though there's no changes that can be made. They become available after, the ballots will be available after, in the afternoon on the 16th. They go to the town clerk's office. They have to be done in person, so you can't request a mailing because of the short time frame. So it's the exact same process for the absentee ballots that we just went through for the budget process, the exact same process. So they would come to the town clerk's office and they would request an absentee ballot. And again, that would be available starting in the afternoon on the 16th, straight through till the day before the actual vote. The referendum vote would be held on May 23rd. Normal polling locations from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Thank you.
I just want to make sure I understand that correct, because I'm going to need an absentee ballot there.
That's fine.
Yeah. So essentially, anybody can come in, get the absentee ballot, and that day fill it out.
Correct.
Okay. Just wanna
Yep,
make
you
sure.
fill it out right there. They log it, and then they have to record it to the registrars.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. At this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion has been made by Mr. Grandelsky, seconded by Mr. Wood. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? This meeting is adjourned.